Hello and welcome to another StarCityGames.com premium video. I'm Drew Levin, and this week I will be playing a blue-white-red Thopter Treasure Cruise deck that Jerry Thompson IM'd me a couple days ago, says he really likes it, and I have basically only gone wrong 2 or 3 times by listening to him in the dark, and my hit rate's a lot higher than that. So we're going to run with it. So we are on the draw with no blue source, but this is a pretty decent representation of what the deck does. The way that you want to go about winning... Oh, God. Why did I... That was a horrible misclick. The way that you want to go about winning Treasure Cruise mirrors is... Another void. Okay. The way you want to go about winning Treasure Cruise mirrors is just mill harder to your Treasure Cruises and have Snapcasters to flashback your Treasure Cruises. So, obviously we drew the blue source because we're really good at this. So, we're going to end up playing Drago because this is like Trinisphere Plus. But we just have a bunch of self-mill ways to draw cards, and then the Thopter Sword combo to lock things up. Tons of card advantage. I think it's pretty sweet. So we're going to... There's no way that they play like a contamination or whatever, so we can just get all of our non-basics. Oh, gross. Playing against Urborg online is like one of the most miserable things. So, going to brainstorm for a land here. We hit 2, which is cool. So we're gonna keep a treasure. We're gonna keep a Thopter Foundry. Don't need a second, and we don't need 3 delve spells. So we're gonna keep a split, and then just go from here. Our opponent is still locked off of casting things. However, yeah, we don't have any more fetchables left, which is cool, because we milled over our basic island. So here's all the mana we've got for the game. Is there a compelling reason to do anything right now? I guess we can't ever Snapcaster Mage anything, so we can delve 6. Yeah, we can just dig through time in their end step right now, and that can be good enough. Another void is a cute way to like never have to, basically as a way of like breaking people's draw. So we could have delved a card less, that was loose. So we get 2 of these cards. So it seems pretty straightforward that we just take sword and a land, since they have Urborg. Just put all of these back in some order. And then black doesn't really have a ton of great ways to deal with black, blue. Sort of doesn't matter. So, next turn, more or less no matter what they do, we're going to cast Sword of the Meek and go ham on them. I'm not really sure why Curse Scroll is good with Nether Void. I guess you can, like... yeah, I don't know. Seems like Nether Void just like fills up your hand and then your Curse Scrolls are very bad, but I recognize this dude's name. Like, they typically know what they're up to. So mono black Nether Void, what else could they play? So they're not going to be a combo deck, right? So they're going to be like some Pox type deck. Right, so here's the deck in all its glory. It looks like a lot of the parts have all of the parts of, you know, a Thopter deck that you would expect. You've got Thopters and Swords. You've got Snapcasters for your Treasure Cruises. Jerry is a big fan of, like, weird off-the-wall situational one-ofs that he says cover all of his angles. And Slice and Dice is a card that does that for all of the, you know, Thalia, Elves type decks where, like, you aren't super heavy on board control, so, like, you might just want to randomly cycle Slice and Dice, and people are never going to see it coming, because it's Slice and Dice. Who plays that in Legacy? And then sometimes you just hardcast it, and you wipe out someone's entire board. Anyway, I'm trying to think of, like, they're probably going to cut all of their removal. We're probably fine keeping our Force of Wills. I can't imagine a use for a lot of these spell snares. I can imagine that they'll have, like, Bloodghasts or whatever. Kind of just want Wear Tears. Sensei's Divining Top is historically good against black strategies. Pyroblast is just bad because they're a black deck. Vanillion Click is fine because it applies pressure. And yeah, I think that is basically where we want to be. We still maintain, like, the core engine of our deck, and we add some ways to apply pressure. We add ways to blow up a super annoying card for us. And yeah. So we're gonna intentionally keep this time. Hope that our opponent doesn't have another turn 1 Nether Void. So we don't know whether or not we want to fetch red or white. Ratchet Bomb. Sure. This feels like someone who's just, like, setting up on board against a deck that just, like, has a zillion ways to answer and get ahead before they have to like play out all of their answers, whereas they have to have all of their stuff on board. Basically, it's like, yeah, their deck just seems way clunkier than ours, so I like our odds, is what I'm saying. So we're gonna get a Volcanic since Wear Tear is a thing. We're gonna Mental Note. They're gonna charge Ratchet Bomb. We mill over a Wear Tear, which is annoying. We're going to keep fetching because milling fetchables is miserable against a deck that we know taxes our available mana. Liliana, okay. I can't imagine this plow is going to be any good. So we're gonna get a Tundra, cast another Mental Note, and bolt our opponent. We would like to redirect. How very thoughtful of you. And we are gonna Snapcaster this here Lightning Bolt. Send that one upstairs. Yep. And Liliana down. So like, even if they double wasteland us, we still have more of these lands. They hem us. I think we just have to hope to peel any land. And then flashback Treasure Cruise. That was not what we wanted to see. That was great. So we're gonna delve. So stuff that we don't want to flashback. The lands. Those are no good. 5, 6, and probably don't need the extra Mental Note. Cool. So now, even if they double wasteland us, we still have top going. We've got a fresh 3 cards. And like, they should double wasteland us, because otherwise we will just immediately snap Treasure Cruise. So our exiled cards are volcanic. We have... Okay, so we have no way to access red. Yeah, that's right. We have 2... Oh, we have 3 volcanics. Nice. Okay. We only have 2 tundras, but we have the basic plains. They wanted to get our top. Fascinating. So definitely get our last Valk. And then we're down a Thopter Foundry. That's fine. So we're gonna give flashback to this here treasure cruise, which is a neat little synergy for 5, 6, 7. Nice. Well, now we are up approximately a zillion cards. None of our creatures are going to survive, and whenever we string together Thopter plus Sword, we should be able to win since we have Force for their Ratchet Bomb. Also, we can mox up this bolt like we're about to do. Take a peek. See a second Force of Will that we can float. So we're going to float that one on top, and then if we need to, we can rearrange and draw Sword of the Meek, although realistically we're just going to flip both over since we don't really need them. So milling our own Sword of the Meek, quite cute. And then we have Sensei's Divining Top. They reveal him to Turok. Cool. So we are out. Okay, so we've got another Tundra available. So let's get that. And we don't really care if we get hymned here. Like, I guess we may as well dig. And leave probably the lands in hand, the Force of Will on top of the deck, and the 2 blue cards in hand. Since we can't do all of that, put back Plow Counterspell. Probably just Force Counterspell since they can't both him us and cast a card. So Force on top, Counterspell beneath that, and then if they him us, they can't play a card that we care about, and if they do play just the card we care about, we tap top to draw Force of Will. So they Inquisition us, see our Brainstorm, which is fine. Hem us, also fine. Discarded the lands, didn't want those. So we're gonna stack Counterspell on top, draw Vendilion, and just wait for a spot where... actually, Vendilion's just dead, but... I guess we would rather... not have it. Okay. We're gonna need to get something going here. They pretty clearly don't have creatures, so... we're gonna cycle our Plow. Draw our Counterspell, attack them. They have to spend their turn scrolling it. Our top card is Force of Will. That's totally fine. They reveal Swamp, play it. 3 Force of Wills, sure. So as long as we don't brick off and have our 3 Thopter Foundries as like the literal bottom 3 cards of our deck, we should be fine. They name Ratchet Bomb, we counterspell the Ratchet Bomb. Show me not a Force of Will. Yes! Alright, we're in business. And super conveniently, the last 2 cards in our hand, Force of Will and blue card. So tap, top, draw a card, sack it, recur Thopter thing. Make some tokens, ship it back. And from here it doesn't really matter, like, we know the next card we're drawing is Force of Will, we're gonna have double Force up. I can't imagine running cards that, like, runners that can beat us from here. So, Chains of Mephistopheles, I accept. Yeah, man. That card does not matter to me. Just get all of the Thopter activations in while they're tapped out, because I don't really care to think about how Curse Scroll interacts with Sword of the Meek's trigger, and also so that I can avoid the risk of forgetting to put 5 damage into play. Like, accidentally clicking through that is just a huge disaster. And we've got the game locked up with double counterspell in hand. We're not getting burned out, like... Totally fine. This is also another nice look at why all of these hate decks, like this is like one of the most anti-Treasure Cruise decks I think I could imagine coming up with, and it still just like gets crushed by its own inconsistency. Just like casts Nether Void on turn 1, just executes its plan perfectly, still just doesn't win. Like we just draw some lands and their card quality isn't good because they're playing Chains of Mephistopheles and Nether Void. So that is how you can beat mono black anti cantrips and Treasure Cruise with cantrips and Treasure Cruise. Is just like your deck is absurdly consistent. You have ways to get ahead. They don't. And like if they don't draw their specialized answers to your like regular cards, not even the ones that kill them, just your regular cards that you put in your deck, then like they lose. And that's what happened, right? Like they didn't have Chains or Nether Void in the first 4 turns, so they lost because we got to cast all of our mental notes and all of our thought scours and flashback some Treasure Cruises, and like they couldn't do anything about it because they were playing basic swamps. So let that be a lesson to you. Even if you think your matchup on paper is like phenomenal against Treasure Cruise, like one deck is built to be consistent and one deck is built to attack the consistency of other decks. And if you have a choice, then like you should be playing the consistent deck. Anyway, I'll be right back.